Hey everyone, I'm Eric. Welcome back to another episode of the SDR Game Podcast. My guest today is Théo Garnier, Senior SDR at Payfit. Théo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, Eric.
So, Théo, for those who are listening, is ranked top 1 or 2 of SDR for more than a year, and is also the first speaker of the top Perf Show conference at Payfit, and is averaging between 220% and 230% of the target. So for those who don't know, Payfit is automate your payroll and HR processes, allowing you to focus on more high-value tasks. The main buyer personas that Théo is going after, you have founders, CEOs, CFOs, HR leaders, and also Théo. What are the main pain points that Payfit solves?
All right. So the main pain points that Payfit solves are mainly manual tasks that you can have in your payroll. Like today's, a lot of companies are collecting your variables like your holidays when you're not in the company, etc. And in one Excel file, they send it to their accountant. The accountant is processing the payroll, then sending back to you all of your information. Then you send the information to all of your employees, etc., etc. So you have a lot of manual tasks in this process, and Payfit can automates all of those tasks.
And what are the size of the companies you are going after?
Mostly it's 10 to 80 employees, but we also have a VSB, like what we call a VSB team, who
What's
are
VSB?
very small businesses. So it's 1 to 10 employees. And we also have a mid-market team, which is more than 80. But the most part of the big part of the business is 10 to 20 employees, 10 to 80 employees.
20 employees. Okay. And I imagine because you are selling to those different personas, I imagine you can go after every industry, or do you have like a specific focus for you?
Good question, because Payfit coded a lot of collective agreements in France. So we only address the collective agreements that we coded in our platform. So mostly a lot of companies, a lot of industries, but not everyone.
Can you give like your top 3 industries?
Of course, it's mostly it is tech industries with the collective agreement of Syntech. We are Syntech experts. We also have retailers. We also have shippers. All kinds of companies except building companies.
And you mentioned, I forgot to mention, Payfit is a French company. Do you focus only on the French market, or do you have like also accounts outside of France?
I only focus on the French market, but we also have team in the UK and in Spain.
When we are preparing this episode, we are talking about what you think make you successful as an SDR at Payfit. And one thing you mentioned was the product that helps you to be achieving more than 200% of achievement. What do you think the product of Payfit may help you with prospecting and achieving more than 200%?
Yeah, that is a good question, because I think you have to, as a sales, as an SDR, you have to be really convinced that your product is solving and is helping companies with their issues, with their daily life problems. I'm convinced that Payfit can help companies in their daily life. Why is that? Is because we have like maybe 2 key features in Payfit that are very powerful. It is real time. Like in France, we have the most complex payroll system in the world. You have a lot of things that can impact your payroll, like holidays, expense, etc. And companies are very like old school for this kind of process, and Payfit is the only platform in the world that can automate this kind of process, because they create a code technology that can allow us to code the work, the collective agreements first, and we have this technology that Payfit creates that no one can do except us.
How do you approach that actually? And I know we're going to talk a lot about cold calls today because you told me also that your main focus is cold calls. So how do you translate that into your outreach?
I just forgot one thing that in the key features we are an all-in-one platform. Today you have like a lot of HR AI solution, HR platform when you can say when you're away, when you're on holiday, etc., etc. And those kind of platforms are not related to the payroll solution. You have to send those information from the HR AS platform to your accountant, etc. And Payfit is the only one platform that is an all-in-one platform where the HR is linked in real time to the payroll. So to go back to your question, I think that for me the key in prospecting in cold call extra is to be relevant and reliable, like to be trustworthy for your prospect to understand what you're saying and to really listen to you. Like if you do cold call and even if you have the best product, what is important is not only what you sell but how you will sell it. And if you have and if you are relevant and reliable, your prospect is in the mood to listen to you. And if he listens to you and if you are convinced that your product is the good one for this company, they will listen to you and they will understand your value proposition.
Now let's talk more about cold calling. So how do you structure a cold call? Do you do some research before cold calling your prospects, or what's your process around this?
My personal key is to be relevant and reliable, like to be legitimate. I don't know if we can say that in English, but to be trustworthy and inspire trust for your prospect. So I have to make research to be trustworthy to talk with this prospect. What I do is I look for the company. If it is a tech company, I was in engineering school and a commercial school in finance, etc. I used to study those kind of topics. I say a lot to the prospect that I call, especially CEOs or CFOs that are the people who makes the decision. I talked to them and I said, first, I'm calling you because I know your company. When I was a student, I was interested in your company to do internship, extra. Now I work for this company, and and I really want to know how you're addressing this kind of topics like payroll and HR. And I'm just curious to figure out how you work for this, how you address those kind of topics, and to let you know that Payfit, what added value we can bring to you.
Let's just go back on the triggers. So here you mentioned, for example, you are looking for the. You said that you wanted to work for them as an internship, for example. So what are the triggers you are looking for example, when you are calling a CEO?
Maybe in a second time, but in the first time, I only look for general information of the company. Like if it is based in my hometown, like Marseille, in France, I would say that I'm from Marseille. I know your company. I heard of it. If it is a Parisian company, I would say, oh yeah, when I was a student, I was looking for an internship. Your company, I was interested in your company, etc. And in a second time, depending on what was the outcome of the first call, I will look for other information like if they are hiring, etc., extra, because it is important for us to know, because it is HR. If they are hiring people, it is part of the HR process. Payfit can help us in the HR process. So yeah, I will try to find this trigger and to understand this trigger, to ask questions about what are they looking for, what kind of profile are they looking for, etc., etc. Then to create a link with these people, to have like small talk with these people, of course, to be trustworthy, to be reliable, and so that the person can understand and fully understand what I will say about the Payfit product and how the Payfit product can help us achieve not only payroll but also HR processes like we are talking right now, like hiring, etc., extra.
Just to make sure I understand, so when, for example, they're hiring, so what questions do you like to ask to them?
How many hirings do you plan in the coming years? What are the what are the kind of profile you're looking for? Maybe I can know some person, etc. And after, I will ask more detailed question, like process question, like how it will impact your cost, your salary cost, etc., etc. And how do you plan all this? Because Payfit can help us do that. So I will try to bring them on my field with this kind of very general question. I will try to play. I would try them to make me to make them play on my field because I know that Payfit can help us on this topic.
What I'm understanding here is you try to find like to have them talk about the cost they have, so then you can introduce Payfit, where Payfit could be a solution to help them if the cost is super high, for example.
Yes, not only if the cost is super high, but they can help us plan. They can help us to plan their recruitment, their hirings, to see what impacts will this recruitment have on all of its payroll, and all of this, and on all of the company. It is not only a payroll solution, but also a planification solution to see how this recruitment will impact the cost of the company. And you can make some simulations on Payfit, etc., etc. And after that, it is all linked with the payroll, because payroll it what the salary will have at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just link all of this together with one thing, one trigger, like you said. You can address all of the HR topics.
You mentioned that, for example, you can have like a planification inside Payfit. Do you use that in your outreach, or is it more the account executives using that to sell to this prospect?
It really depends on the prospect. A lot of times you have prospects who are not interested in payroll, because payroll is, they don't care about payroll. Their accountant does the payroll, the salary, all of the employees get paid at the end of the month, and it's okay. Most of the time, this is how it works. So you have to find triggers. Sometimes it is recruitment. Sometimes it is expense. Sometimes it's it really depends. These are like career review, etc., etc. All of the HR processes. Not only not only the recruitment one, the hiring one, but you have to find a bridge to be trustworthy, so they can listen to you when you're talking about payroll, because payroll is not a fancy topics, of course.
I imagine.
So you have to make it fancy by talking about other stuff that are linked to payroll.
Can you give an example on how you, for example, they are not interested in payroll, so you switch to talk about expenses? So how do you approach that?
Like if the prospect is not interested about payroll, he doesn't want to talk about payroll, I will ask him what are the processes that he has in intern on all of the HR topics, like how does the employees do when they want to take a day off, for example. He will explain me how does he do when he wants to submit an expense, etc., etc. He will give me all of the insights that I need to bring him the added value of Payfit.
Okay.
And expense is one of the added value of Payfit.
And what do you think are the common challenges that you face selling to those buyer personas, and how do you address this, overcome those objections?
It is funny to link, not funny, but quite right to link challenges with objections. And not only because objections represent the challenge as itself, But sometimes what is hard about the objection is to find a real objection. So if you have the real objection, it's easy. You just clear the objection, you isolate the objection, you solve the objection, and you validate that you have solved the objection. But the real challenge is to find a real objection. You have you have many kinds of objection today. Like you have it can be a pretext objection, it can be a mute objection, it can be a real objection, and you have first to identify in which category of objections this objection is. If it is a pretext, you'll know it. Like when your prospect is telling you, "I don't have time," it is not true. Like if you have something very important for your prospect, he will take the time. So it is a pretext. You have just what you have to do is to transform this objection into a real objection by asking open question, etc. And when you find the real objection, we all know the process. Like I said, to clarify the objection, to isolate, to treat, and to validate. But what is very hard is really to find the real objection.
You said I don't have time. How do you address that? What question do you ask?
I think it is maybe the most popular one. I don't have time. So okay, what are your main topics? What is your roadmap? What are your key subjects? What are your important matters today? If the buyer persona is the right one, he will talk to you about for Payfit. He will talk or she will talk to you about HR. Now, if he talks to you or if she talks to you about HR, he will give you insights, and then you just have to let him talk to just answer his question or just say to him, all right. So you talk about career review, etc., etc. What are your process for career reviews? How do you manage this? And then it's just a conversation between two people because you are interested of what your prospect is doing, what are his key subject, his key matters, and then you have you are relevant to bring him added value of your product.
Well, I like here what you're doing. It's you are really focused on learning about them instead of trying to just overcome the objection about say I don't have time. No, it's just going to I just need 2 minutes. No, you try to really focus on them and learn something about them. So
yeah,
I like a lot that. So let's talk about another objection. For example, so what do you say if they say that you already use a competitor, for example? That also, I imagine for Payfit, it's a common objection you will have on the phone.
In Payfit it's quite different. No, it's not different. Like our competitors are HR platform, HRIS platform.
Yep.
I will not cite them, of course.
Of course,
but there are a lot of HRIS platform who are just here to manage the holidays of the employees, the expense of the employees, the annual career review of the employees, etc., etc. In France, this kind of platform is here to manage what will impact the payroll. It is a platform that manages what will impact the payroll. You have this platform, and then you have your content. You have to extract what is in your HRIS platform. You have to send it to your content sending back to this platform, and it is like I don't know how to say it, but like a threesome, and how do we like counter this objection? It is Payfit is not is more reliable than having two solutions for one thing. It is the final thing is the payroll. Payfit is in all-in-one platform. When you have something that is put in your HRIS platform, it impacts in real time your payroll.
So can we give a specific example? Because here it was just an overview on overcoming the competitor objection. So let's say I'm the prospect here and I say, hey, I already use your competitor. So how do you, what do you do here?
I think that the first one is not putting added value too soon, too fast. The key is to understand why they choose the competitor, why Payfit was not in the benchmark at the time, and if you understand all of that, you have all of the insights to bring the prospect to your field. And if you're really convinced that your product is the good one, just wait for the good moment to bring added value of your product, but just ask him why this competitor, what is the competitor doing for him, what are the key functionalities that he's using in this solution. And if he brings you all of the insight, and if you trust your product, just ask him, okay, why this solution, if you can have a solution that does this.
Mm-hmm.
This is your product, of course. And then you will make him think. And that's what I call, for me, because it is what I use, like the Inception Method. I don't know if you saw the movie Inception, but if you multiply your buyer persona in the company, you can implement the idea of changement, the idea of a new solution that is better, and by multiplying personas, by multiplying touch points, at the end, when you call them, like maybe a month or two later, and you are going to propose to them a demonstration of your solution, they will say, why not? Because you understood all of their process, you know that your product is better. And if you go like this, like an entonnoir, I don't know how to say it in English, a funnel, so you're functioning like this, that is not good, that is good, that is not good. If you have all of the good points of your solution and all of the bad points of your solution that are solved, why don't you see our product? And then it's easy to just bring them to a demonstration. After, the closing part is different, but just create an opportunity is easy if you're doing this.
I really like what you said about Inception here, because I think prospecting, it's like Inception is planting the idea, the seed inside their head. And what you want to do is start making them think about their current situation and how they could do that better. And I think prospecting, it's all about this. It's you are not just here, to arrive and say, "Here, just book a meeting." No, it's you are here to give them a new idea to doing things. Here we were talking about the competitor, but I think in general, if they don't use a competitor, you want to give them a new way of doing things, and prospecting is showing them this new way. And I remember also when we were preparing the episode, you mentioned that obviously sometimes it's not the right timing, because outbound is always about timing. So in here it's pretty much the same. So if you are calling at the right time, obviously it's great, but sometimes you will call 3 months or 6 months before they are buying the solution. So, and I think, prospecting is all about Inception, is giving them an idea on doing things in a new way.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
So now let's talk more about cold calling, but specifically, how do you manage your time with cold calling? Do you have block on your calendar, or do you have like a routine that you are currently doing every day? So what's your process?
Yeah, I do have a routine, and I think that organization and to be organized is one of the key of my success here. Like for instance, when I'm not performing very good in 1 week, for instance, it is mostly about my organization that is not good, and so I have to just go back to the basics. And my basic organization is very easy. When I like to come early in the office, about 8:30, before all of my colleagues arrive, to make my sourcing, to find companies that I can call today or in the coming days. I do that in our CRM because we have a lot of companies in our CRM, but I also do a lot of LinkedIn's, a lot of Twitters, a lot of press article, of course, press news, startup news, etc., etc.
And how long are you doing this? Are you doing this every day or specific days of the week?
Kind of every day. Of course, it can change one day to another, but my basic organization is every day in the morning. I do this. It is like between 30 and 45 minutes. It is the time when I'm quite alone in the office with myself, listening to music and just making my sourcing. After that, I'm just prioritize my task of the day. What calls do I want to do first to make me in the good mood for the other calls? Because if you start today with a bad call, it can be hard. It can be hard. So you have to. What I like to do is prioritize my call. I do the easy one first to make me in a good mood for the other one that are sometimes tougher. So I prioritize my tasks.
What do you, when you say easy ones, what, like the follow-ups, or what do you mean?
Yeah, it's sometimes prospect that I've already called in the past days, and that I have to call back because I have a lot of insights. I know that if I call them, I can bring them added value, and they will understand my value proposition. So it will be easier to book a demo. So I do all of this call at first, and then I do all of the other calls that sometimes I don't know what will be the outcome. Sometimes it is very hard call and I know it before. So those kind of calls, that the hard ones, I know that those calls are going to be hard. So I just like to take them very, very peaceful. Just my goal is to like to have fun in this call because I know it will be hard. If it is hard and that I'm not happy with my call, etc., it will impact all of the other calls. So I just want them to take them in a cool way, and so it is important after that to know your pipe, and so between after lunch, I do all of my pipe management. I had tags on my calls, tags on my account, then prioritize all of the accounts in my pipe view to see what are the hot ones, what are the cold ones. I do that after lunch. Then in the afternoon, I do the same thing. If I have to call back prospect on the morning, the easy one I will call back them at first, and then do all of the other calls after that. Of course, there is a little part of admin at the end of the day, and a little part of sourcing at the end of the day too.
I really like what you said earlier about the prioritizing the easiest call to make, because you really want to be in a good mood, because if you book a meeting on the first call or on the first 10 calls, you are pretty excited about this. So, and if you compare to doing the hard call at the beginning, it's maybe not, like you mentioned, you are not in a good mood to do the rest. So I really like your approach here on doing this.
Yes, and I take that from I don't take that from a book, but I read a book like maybe 5 years or 6 years ago, a very famous one, The Alchemist of Paulo Coelho, and in this book it is said that if you have luck with you, you have to work for your luck to have luck again. And so if you're in a good mood, you have good calls, just call again, because you're in a good mood and it creates a good circle, good vibes. So it works.
I like that. I didn't know about this book, so that's a really good one. So
yeah, very good book.
I put that in the description. other question about the you mentioned that you are tagging your calls and your accounts. So can you give specific examples on the tags you are adding to your accounts?
Yeah, of course. But when I do my sourcing and then I add counts to my pipe, I will add a task like for the buyer's persona. If I want to do a call session only CEOs or only CFOs, I have tags on my account to call only CEOs or only CFOs, depending on my mood. Sometimes I just want to do that, except especially at the end of the day, because they are more available. The C-level are more available, so I like to do that at the end of the day. And of course, after a call, that a sweet call maybe, I will add the tag sweet, just to know that if I want to do a sweet call session, I can just go on my tags and do all of the sweet tags for my call session. It is an easier way to prioritize your task, and just to not to be surprised when a call is coming to your next sequence.
You mentioned hard conversation, hard calls. So how can you share a success story of how your persistence and focus with a cold call lead to booking a meeting?
It's not only booking a meeting; it is a signed deal, a deal that is closed, and this company is now a Payfit client. I will not cite the company, of course, but it is a company that I sourced maybe uh, 8 or 9 months ago, and the deal closed a month ago. So I was calling the CFO and co-founder of this company many times. He knew he knew Payfit. He know that we are a good solution, but he was working. He was making his payroll with a competitor that is cheaper than us. Let's say, very cheaper, by the way. And he was happy with this functionment because payroll is not a real subject. He doesn't care about payroll, etc., etc. But he know Payfit. He has friends that are using Payfit, etc. And I really think that the price objection is a pretext one. I'm convinced, because if you have the most amazing product that can allow you a client company to do stuff that they can't imagine they can do, they will pay the price. So I was just calling this prospect. He say me no. He tells me no, like maybe 6 or 7 times in a row, like in maybe 1 month. I just quit, like for a month, sending in an email every 2 weeks. Then I call him at the end of a quarter in Payfit. I was lying to him at this call, because I said to him, just come. You'll see we have new prices. We can have offer, etc., etc. That is not true at all. But I just wanted him to see the product and the evolution of the product, because I was convinced that his solution, the solution that he was using, was not very good, and I have insight from other company that this solution is not very good. And I just wanted him to see the product. So he was okay, because I told him that we have offers, and the price was his first and his one objection. So I said to him, if the price is good, we work together, right? And he said to me, all right, let's see. So he came, I created the opportunity, he came to the demo. The demo was great. He really loved the product. And he told to us, it is effectively, the price is too high. So the objection was real. But I was sure that he will sign one day. So I was just continue calling him just to take news like in a friendly way. Hi Leo, how you doing? How I don't know, like how is your hiring process evolving? Uh, did you raise fund, etc., etc. But how just to talk with him and just not in a sales way. I just put off my sales cap and just be like a consultant to and um, I was how to say that I was interested in his company, in his project, and in his roadmap. So he told me like, yeah, we raised fund, we are hiring like 10 to 15 people, and then when he told me that, I knew that I have new triggers to create a new opportunity because uh, Payfit there is no overfacturation at Payfit. The price is the price, and with the content you have a lot of fluctuations when you hiring someone, when you fire someone, etc., etc. And he's going to have a lot of hirings. So I told him, all right. So how do you manage to see the impact of this hiring on your company, etc., etc. He told me he was doing that by Excel, or he called his accountant to see, etc., etc. And I said to him, do you want to have, do you want to manage this thing and to have a product that can allow you to make simulation in real time of your hiring, etc., etc., without a facturation for that? He said to me, yes, it is interesting, but it's not a good time. He knew the product, etc., etc. And I said to him, okay, no problem, etc. And 5 weeks 5 weeks ago, he called me on my personal phone at 6 p.m. and he said, "Hello, Theo. I want to go. I want to implement Payfit in my company. How can we manage this?" So I was sure that our product have added value for him at his company. It was not a good time, but just by making calls from time to another, uh, just ask him how he's doing, how the company is doing, how the hiring process is evolving, etc., etc. We just create a relation, and it was not it was persistent, but in a friendly way. So one day he just called me and said to me, "I want to implement Payfit," and it takes from June 2022 to March 2023.
I think it's go back to what you said earlier about Inception,
Of
because
course.
it was you being here, just talking about Payfit, but respect, and also you respect his time, respect that maybe he had some objections, but then he made a decision and he called you back to move to Payfit. So
Yeah, and just sometimes you're not only in a sales, you can be a consultant for a
yeah,
company, and to have this consultant cap, if we can say that, is very interesting because you're not making the company buy your product, but you're making the company understand why your product will help them. You're not selling your product. You're trying to explain to them why your product will help them. And if it helps them, but the price is not good, fair enough. But they will see the product, they will know the added value, then we understand the value proposition.
what advice will you give to a new SDR looking to replicate your success with cold calling, and what advice should they ignore?
We had this kind of advice when I arrived at Payfit, but one advice that I didn't have, and an advice that for me is very important, you have to be confident that the solution you're selling is solving problem. Because if you're a sales and you're not convinced that your product is a good one, it won't work for you. So you have to choose your company by affinity, of course, and by affinity of the product. If you're sure that the product fits a market and is relevant for other companies, that is the first maybe the first advice that I would say. The only one the second one, and I think it's an important one, and maybe it is it summarizes all that we said today. It is not only what you're selling, but how you're selling it. It is Simon Sinek that explained it in a TEDx conference with the Golden Circle. I encourage everyone to see this TEDx conference. What is important is not the what, but it's the why. Why you're selling this product and how you're selling this product is more important than the what. If the company understands why your product is here, and if you're selling it in a good way, not just selling a product to sell a product, but to sell a product to fit a market, to solve a problem for this company, that maybe they're not aware of this problem. Your role is to make this company aware of this problem, and then sell your product, but not sell your product first. Just know this company, know their process, know why they have this process, and then you will be able to sell your product in an effective way. The third one is that the Inception Method is very powerful. And if someone tell you that don't call him back, don't send email, you can let this account on the side. It's not important. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's not true. If you're convinced that your product is solving a problem for them, the Inception Method is very powerful. Multiply your buyer personas, multiply your prospect in one company. They will create a project in intern, and they will come back to you.
What's your favorite tool that you use every day?
I choose Twitter for my favorite tool. Because Twitter is a very powerful tool for prospecting and for having insight of some persons. And a lot of buyer personas in my field are on Twitter, the CFO, the founders, etc., because they are doing their research on Twitter for the market, etc. And you have a lot of insights for a prospect in Twitter, and it's easier to call a prospect if he tweets about a common subject that you have or something that is off work, because you can just put off your cap sales and be trustworthy to talk to him after that of your product and of his company. And it's very powerful to use Twitter to start a call.
And what's your favorite resource to grow as an SDR? You mentioned the book earlier, The Alchemist. So do you have anything else?
This book is not about sales, but I think we can learn a lot of books, and I recommend to everyone to read The Alchemist of Paulo Coelho. But I also like one newsletter. It is the Mojo newsletter. It's a French newsletter, but you have an international one, an American one, that is Gong. It is a blog where you have a lot of great information of prospecting, cold calling, cold emails, etc. And of course, one of my favorite resources is all of the players here in Payfit, all of the other sales in Payfit that I have a lot to learn from them.
Well, Théo, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. But before we end the episode, do you have something else you want to add and that you want to share with the audience?
Be confident that your product is the good one. Don't choose a company for a company because you've been told that the product is great. You have to just make your own think, if we can say that, of the product, and it's very important to be confident on the product you're selling.
Well, Théo, thank you so much for being on the show. It was nice to see you. And for everybody listening, thank you for listening to this episode, and I see you on the next one.
Thank you.